Hello everybody again from Simplyfoodea YouTube channel. Thank you so much for great comments. Let's start an interesting topic today. Actually, we'll talk today about the food safety recall, and we'll talk about the most famous food safety recall ever recorded in the history till now. So before getting to the most famous food safety recalls, we must know some definitions and different types of food recall, the global classes of food recall, and of course with the most famous food safety recalls recorded in the history, and the food recall references from the internet. The definition of the food recalls are a crucial process by removing unsafe products from the market, and consumers are alerted to potential risk. The unsafe food products give the governmental authorities to work with the responsible company to identify the affected products actually and develop a plan for the removal of affected products from the market and alert the consumers of the potential risk of this recalled product. There are two types of recall: the voluntary recall, which is initiated by the responsible company to test its ability to recall products from the market, and we can call it the mock recall by the traceability program in the food safety program by the company, and the mandatory recall, which are ordered when the responsible company fails to take action and the governmental authorities actually have the authority to ensure the compliance of the company to recall its food product from the market. What are the global classes of food recall? There is actually three classes of food recall. The first class are class 1 recall, which are the most serious type of recall involving products that could cause serious health problems or even death, as products contaminated with harmful bacteria, undeclared allergens, and toxic substances. And the upcoming videos we will talk about all these items in deep details. The class 2 recalls, which can cause a temporary health problems or pose slight threat of serious nature, as products with labeling errors or products that have been improperly processed or stored, which can cause only temporary health problems. And the most light class, which is class 3 recall, which is unlikely to cause any adverse health effects, such as products with minor labeling or packaging errors, and maybe issue in the date or something like that, which is class 3 recall. So now we'll talk about the most famous, actually I have selected 8 food safety recalls recorded in the history. There is another, yes, there is another from the internet, but this 8 are the most famous, and there is another famous food safety recalls. I didn't mention it because the video will be very long. Number 1, the Chinese milk scandal. I want to note that there is no any sequence in the types, because I have mentioned only 8 recalls. So number 1, the Chinese milk scandal. What are the story of this scandal actually, or this food safety recall? In 2008, Chinese milk scandal was a dark time for food safety in China, as the intentional contamination of milk and infant formula with melamine, which is a toxic chemical, caused devastation across the country. The Sanlu Group, which is one of the Chinese largest dairy producers, was at the center of the scandal, as they added melamine to the milk to artificially increase the protein content and pass the quality inspections, which caused actually over 300,000 infants and young children are affected. Can you imagine? This is a very big number, with over 50,000 hospitalizations and 6 infants actually death reported, which is very, very, very issue in China at that time. The second selected food safety recall of the Germany E. coli outbreak. The Germany E. coli outbreak are in 2011 and was caused by the contamination of fresh produce traced back to imported vinduric seeds, which is used to grow sprouts. It has a devastating effects also on the public health and economy. The outbreak led to over 5,000 reported illness and 50 deaths. Can you imagine? People are dead due to food consumed, with symptoms ranging from mild diarrhea to severe kidney failure. The economic impact was also significant, as the farmers and food producers in Germany and other European countries reported major losses due to decreased demand for fresh products. The third selected food safety recall are the Peanut Corporation of America, PCA, which is in 2009, as the PCA are one of the largest food recalls in the history, caused by the widespread outbreak of salmonella infection traced back to peanut butter and peanut paste produced by the Peanut Corporation of America. The contamination after the investigation was a result of unsanitary conditions in the production facilities, which is a very important topic in the cleaning and sanitation and good manufacturing practices in any food facility, including the presence of rodents and other pests. So the rodents and pests are very danger on the food processing facility. Over 700 reported illnesses and multiple deaths and major losses for the peanut industry due to decreased demand from the consumer. I have mentioned all the references at the bottom of the slide. The fourth selected food safety recall are the Odwalla apple juice outbreak. The Odwalla apple juice outbreak of 1996 was a tragic reminder of the dangers of consuming unpasteurized juice. Also, it was in the United States. The outbreak was caused by E. coli bacteria contaminating the Odwalla Incorporation's unpasteurized apple juice, leading to widespread illness in more than 60 people. Tragically, a 16-month-old girl suffered severe kidney damage and died as a result of the outbreak, and the company had to pay out of millions of dollars in settlements to the victims and their families, which caused very, very big cost on the company. So it's very important to ensure that your juice are from a trusted food company and to ensure its pasteurization process are adequate by the quality and food safety team and production team by the company itself. The fifth selected food safety recall are the jalapeno pepper salmonella outbreak. We have mentioned before the E. coli, and now we are talking about the salmonella. This both are very, very, very important in the food industry manufacturing. The jalapeno pepper salmonella outbreak are also in 2008 was a food safety crisis caused by contaminated fresh produce, leading to widespread illness and economic impact. The outbreak was traced back to a single farm in Mexico, causing over 1,500 reported illness only in the United States and Canada, with symptoms ranging from mild diarrhea to severe dehydration and hospitalization. The sixth selected food safety recall are the salmonella contaminated egg recall. The egg recall of 2010 was a massive food safety crisis that shook the egg industry and affected millions of eggs produced by Wright County Eggs and Helandley Farms. The recall was initiated after a widespread outbreak of salmonella infections was traced back to the consumption of contaminated eggs. So there is, in this slide, there is three main factors of this recall: salmonella, egg, and the last item was the unsanitary conditions in the farms of the hens and exposed to rodents and pests. So hens and eggs and salmonella, all these three triangle of this recall are very, very important in the food safety industry in the egg production. And over 1,600 reported illness and multiple hospitalizations and major losses for the egg industry due to decreased demand, of course, because all the consumers are afraid from the consumption of affected egg with the salmonella. The before last selected one are Jack in the Box and the Nestle cookie dough E. coli outbreak. The Jack in the Box E. coli outbreak of 1993 and the Nestle cookie dough E. coli also outbreak in 2009 are two examples of devastating food safety crises caused by consuming undercooked raw food products. Very, very critical to the food safety. The Jack in the Box outbreak impacted over 700 people, including multiple deaths and severe kidney failure. Can you imagine that people are dying from the food? It's very, very, very critical. And also, this outbreak of the Jack in the Box outbreak was caused by the undercooked, as I have mentioned before, the undercooked beef patties served at their restaurant. And the Nestle cookie dough outbreak impacted over 70 people with contaminated dough containing E. coli bacteria, leading to widespread illness and hospitalization. The last selected one was the Bluebell ice cream recall. The Bluebell ice cream recall of 2015 in the United States was a chilling reminder of the dangers of contamination in our food supply as caused by the consumption of ice cream contaminated with Listeria monocytogenes bacteria. Also, it's very critical. So I've mentioned till now the E. coli, the Salmonella, and the Listeria monocytogenes bacteria. And the reason of the investigation are due to the company's production facilities with inadequate sanitary conditions and testing procedures. And in the upcoming videos, we'll start also talking about these factors and how we can control the cleaning and sanitation and GMP in the food industry plants. Over 10 reported cases of illness and multiple deaths and significant economic losses for the company, of course, because there is a news that all the ice cream from the Bluebell company are affected and can cause this, can cause of course a significant decrease in the demand of their products. And these are the reference from the internet. Of course, there is other food safety recalls recorded in the websites and different food safety magazines. You can check out all the other food safety recalls from the below references. This references either English references or Arabic references. You can get back to all these references and read all the annual reports and food recall reports by this famous food websites. At the end of my video, I want to thank all of you, and please don't forget to like and share all the content of the channel, and thank you for your great comments, and best of luck of all of you, and please stay safe and ensure that you are consuming food from a reputable source and reputable company with reading all the labeling on the product to ensure its allergen identification, its expiry date, and all the physical characteristics of the products. Best of luck of all of you, and goodbye.